So, Leonard, a big brand that already sells on bol.com and has futures to expand to other marketplaces. How would he go about doing that, in your opinion?
I think, like, from the Meezy standpoint, when we start collaborating with a brand, especially one that's already been established in another marketplace, we start with a very proper in-detail audit of the brand. We analyze the current marketplace that they're selling on, because one of the things that we see a lot of the time is that people want to expand into other marketplaces while they're already, while they're not yet like perfect on one marketplace, while they're only like reaching like 40% of market potential, while they can get like 75%. So I think that's a very important first part when we do these kinds of audits. And like when we start collaborating with a brand, it's very important to look at which niche they're selling in. Because in Europe, you have the general marketplaces, right? Bol.com, Allegro, Kaufland, Amazon, like big variety of general marketplaces. But next to those, you also have the more specialized marketplaces, like B2B marketplaces such as Faire, Anchor Store, OrderChamp. You have home and living marketplaces like Home24, Maison du Monde, Mano Mano, Leroy Merlin, Home Deco, Funk. Like there's a very big variety of those. And then you have other marketplaces that are specialized in tech, like MediaMarkt, for example. So that's a very like big focus point in the beginning. And the home and living market is actually a very interesting market to focus on because they sell really well on the general marketplaces like Bol and Amazon, but they also sell really, really well on the home and living marketplaces. Home and living marketplace, Vincent, like what are for you like the key benefits of selling on a marketplace like that?
I think that the whole fun thing about selling in Europe is that it's just so diverse. And when you have a home and living marketplace, you have exactly the customer that you'd like to have in one specific place that's searching for you, and you have an opportunity to sell there. That's the big, big plus. And the big thing that a lot of people really should understand is how diverse Europe is, and that they should focus on, targeting niche markets. So for me, if you're a home and living brand, those types of markets would be top priority, top priority to focus on, together with your classic Amazon. That's definitely also in certain countries the big player. But going there really needs to be done. And then you have your other marketplaces, of course, depending on each niche. Every niche almost has a certain marketplace that you could go to a certain extent, of course. But that is something that I would focus on.
I think one of the most important niches that I forgot to mention earlier is the supplements niche. In Germany, for example, you have a marketplace called Shop Apotheke that does over 1 billion in GMV every year.
Yeah, not everyone knows this.
Purely on supplements, vitamins, stuff like that. So the great thing about these niche marketplaces, or what I like the most about them, is that customers there are 5 steps further into the buying process compared to a marketplace like Bol or Amazon.
Exactly.
Because if you go to a niche marketplace, that already means like, okay, I know what I want, and now I'm just searching for it for the specific product that I have in the back of my mind. And it's a very different mindset compared to Amazon, where you're really like shopping. You're scrolling like you do on Instagram. While on Home24, for example, you focus, you know what you want. Yeah. And it's a very big difference. When we look into the next steps after doing the proper audit, looking into which marketplaces, one of the next things is to really do a deep dive into the competition. That's one of the most important points as well, is to really focus and to really understand who is my competition and why are they successful. And like maybe one of the most important things is what are they not doing right? Because one of the things that we do a lot of the times, if we see, okay, we have 5 established sellers on Amazon, is we'll look into their negative reviews. Like people are probably in general, they'll give it like a 4 out of 5 star, but what's with the other 20% that gives them a 1 out of 5?
Exactly.
Because that's where you learn a lot from. And then when we do that kind of research, we obviously look into what keywords are they focusing on, what are the kind of PPC campaigns that they're running.
Or opposite, what are they not focusing on?
Exactly. And I think you're the expert on PPC campaigns. There's a couple of different types of research and focus points that you can do, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like in general, keywords, look at it like this. It's like a traffic filter. If you do not send the correct amount of traffic or the correct amount of clients to a specific point, you're missing out so much. So you have different types. You have like your broad match, your exact match, your phrase match keywords that you can focus on. Exact match kind of speaks for itself. It's just like a sniper shot. You know exactly where you're going for, which people or which keyword that you're focusing on. Broad match could be very broad. It can be variations of a word or words within a sentence. Yeah. Not a lot of people realize that those types of things you really have to play with, because otherwise you might just miss out on finding the amount of people or the correct type of people, clients, potential clients that you want on your listing. And then you have phrase match, of course, where you're basically going to search for specific phrases. People are basically searching for entire phrases in Amazon, for example, but it could be in a different type of order, and you have to rearrange words. And it's so much fun to look at like the data on what's going on behind the scenes, and then optimize and see, this week this is like skyrocketing because someone on TikTok said something, for example. Yeah. And every single day, or not every single day, but like every 48 hours, in my opinion, you really should see what is the trend, what is going on, what is performing really well, what is something that we need to focus on in the future, and then just optimize.
Yeah. I think like what you said, it's a very interesting trend that we've been seeing over the years. Like 10 years ago, Google was the king of searching for a specific solution that you want, right? That then evolved into a lot of people started searching on YouTube. Like, I have this, what is the solution? Now we see this coming back to marketplaces like Amazon, right? My dog is itchy at his paws, and then people start like offering products, and that's like a very new trend that we start seeing, right?
Yeah, very correct.
After the keyword research, the PPC campaigns, there's a couple of other things that are very important. For example, creating the right content. Creating the listing designs is the place to communicate with your audience, right? Focusing on specific aspects of the product. Why are you special? Why should you buy me? Also showing a bit of expertise, like, okay, how should you use our products? Involving some customer reviews into the listings and so on. It's a very important aspect point. And basically creating those kind of designs is, I would say, 75% of the work. After that, the other 25% is constantly A/B testing it. When you're scrolling on Amazon, you're looking at one image, and that one thumbnail image decides if I want to click on this product, yes or no.
It's your billboard.
Exactly, and that's what we call the click-through rate. Yeah. How many people actually see my image and then click on it. As soon as they click on it, it's relatively easy to get them or to convert them into the sale. But it's that first image that's really like needs to be fine-tuned in order to have optimized success on the marketplace.
Leonard, how many times do we see that people set up a campaign, many people click on it, and then nobody actually buys because they're just focusing on the entirely wrong audience? Because if you 100%. Can send 100 or 1,000 people to a specific listing, but nobody actually is interested in that listing per se, because you just use the entirely wrong keyword or the entirely wrong campaign, you're set up for failure. So that's, I think, in conversion is also a very, very big, important part in setting it up, your campaign.
100%. It's like when you're selling phone cases and you think, okay, phone is a good keyword, but obviously people who are searching for phones, they don't want phone cases, right? People. So that's definitely something that has a lot of impact on it. After that, there's a couple of more steps, right? You need to set up the customer service part, which is not the most important part of launching on a marketplace, but it's also a part that cannot be neglected because it has a direct impact on your rankings on the marketplaces, right?
Yeah.
Same goes for A plus content, storefronts.
Yeah.
Definitely not something to forget. And then it all melts together, right? You have the listing images, the competitor research, the setup of the fulfillment, the customer service, the designs. The whole thing melts together, and that's basically the key aspect of being successful in the marketplace, is that it's all connected to each other. If one of the links is weak in the chain, then you're set up for a failure. That's why it all needs to be perfect.
100% agree.